I'm on. Okay.
28th at 6 p.m. and we'll call to order this meeting of the Murphysboro City Council. And ask that we would all rise. Followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this opportunity to once again come together as a city council and as members of the city staff and members of the public. And we just appreciate so much the ability to come together and make the decisions that we hope will be the best ones for the city now and in the long term. We always pray for our military members overseas. Would you protect them and our first responders that are in our streets and counties day and night helping to protect and serve, and we appreciate them so much. And we pray all these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Alderman Curry-Witzman. Alderman Runge.
Here.
Alderman Austin.
Here.
Here. Alderman Pittman.
Here.
Alderman Urbis. Alderman McComb.
Here.
Alderman Strack.
Here.
Alderman Gladden.
Here. Well, we have an item on the agenda this evening that's not a typical item, but it's certainly an item that we are proud of. And at this time, I'd like to have Mr. Jonathan Hopkins and Chief Ellemeyer come up to the front of the council chambers. And we are going to be promoting Jonathan Hopkins to the rank of sergeant. And so with that, I'll be administering this oath of office. And before I do that, I think Chief Ellemeyer, you may want to share a few words.
Yeah, promotions in police departments are hard to be between, especially sergeant promotions that come along just every now and then. Officer Hopkins has displayed a great, outstanding demeanor of acting as police officer and investigator. He was hired in February of 2020, came back from the academy in June of that year. He was on patrol for a little over a year, and his canning ability to speak to individuals and get to the bottom of cases and figure things out. We appointed him to detective at that time, and that's where he spent the last 3 years. So it's a privilege and an honor to promote John to sergeant, and it's very well deserved. Thank you.
You're supposed to stick him, not yourself. All right, raise your right hand and repeat after me, please. I, Officer Jonathan Hopkins,
I, Officer Jonathan Hopkins,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
Constitution of the State of Illinois,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
that I will faithfully discharge the duties
that I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of Police Sergeant
of the office of Police Sergeant
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Yes. Absolutely. Hold that. All right.
Thank you.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
Congratulations.
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 Thank you.
You all don't have to leave.
I couldn't Unless we're serving dinner afterwards. For a minute.
All right, well, let's get into our regularly scheduled programming. We have consideration of minutes from May the 14th, 2024, and I'd entertain any questions or amendments to the minutes at this time. Entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Up next, committee and commission reports. First, we have budget and finance chaired by Mr. W.J. Pittman. W.J.?
Thank you, Will. We have no items under old business. Under new business, we have consideration of accounts payable registers. Anybody have any questions in regard to the bills? And entertain a motion to approve. So moved.
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have financial statements prepared by Scott Evans, Budget Officer. Scott?
Thank you, WJ. I have two tonight, which I brought tonight with me. They're not in the packet over the weekend. The income tax report for the month, a really good month. $189,000 receipt was, improving almost $20,000 from this time last year. And to do the projection, we should exceed the $1,108,000 that we budgeted. So that's fantastic. I guess the inflation is having an effect on corporations and various things. Profit. I'm not sure what else it would be. But anyway, at any rate, it's good for us. And the other report I have is the healthcare cost report through April. So for April, we spent $58,480 on healthcare across the board, general fund and water sewer. It works out to about $847 per person. And so cumulatively, that is $3,161 in 4 months. And so for the year to date, we've spent $167,000 in general fund and just under $51,000 in water sewer on healthcare. If you project those out, we should be well within the budget. The HRA piece of the puzzle, item number 2, of course, is our, I guess, most unknown in any given month. And we had a little bit higher than average usage in April, not as much as March, but it tends to kind of, since the policy year is on calendar year, it tends to kind of be higher in those months until deductibles and various things are hit. So it doesn't surprise us. We budget for quite a bit higher than that because of the what-ifs. And so it is higher than it has been, but if you compare it to last year, let's say, that was kind of an exceptionally low year on usage. So this is probably more in tune to what the average would be. But again, we're still well within what our budget forecasts are. So anyway, any questions on the?
Thank you, Scott. And it's not on here under new business, but I just wanted to, we did get approval on the financing for the John Deere skid steer. So I will have Anita will have some documents ready either tomorrow or Thursday, and we'll get them to you. I guess the three of us, I think normal signers are Gina, Will, and Sandra.
Did we go through our line of credit, or did we just do a?
No, we did a 60-month installment.
How much?
60 months.
Wanted to,
Yeah, there's no prepayment or early payment
Okay.
on it. If we
All right.
want to pay it off.
thank you.
Budget and finance.
Oh, we got
it, TIF.
Oh, we got the TIF too.
Yeah.
Sorry. We have the TIF application for Dan Duong at Valley's Nail Spa LLC. This is where Jack's Meat Market used to be, will be new construction. So we did go with, I believe, the old TIF agreement, which is the same. This is pretty similar to what we did for Small Town Scoop, correct?
Well, I don't remember exactly the details of that agreement, but it, is not like we've been doing lately, just like a $8,000 check or something.
This is a 75% reimbursement.
Correct.
Of the TIF, the money that goes into the TIF.
Right. And they should see a, significant increase. Because they're gonna have-
From a almost vacant lot to a
Right.
building, building on a lot, so. Anybody have any questions about that TIF agreement?
Do you know when that's supposed to be started or anything?
I would say sometime this summer, he'll get started on it.
And who owns it?
Dan
I didn't-
DeWong.
Who?
Dan DeWong is
Okay.
he's currently in the building on North 13th Street.
I know where that is. Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't know if they were if this was new or they were moving.
Yep.
And I didn't know who owned it. Thank you.
So do we have a motion to approve that TIF application?
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now do we have any public? Hearing none, we can move out of budget and finance.
All right, that takes us to Building and Grounds, chaired by Mr. Mike Austin.
Thank you, Mayor. Under old business, we have nothing, but I want to update the council on, we're still in the process of getting numbers from other solar companies so we can compare. So I just didn't want you to think that we'd left that alone, but we're still in the process of trying to compare numbers to see where we stand with that. So as soon as we get the numbers all in, we'll have a report sent to you. Fair enough?
Sounds good.
All right. I have no old business, and under new business, I have a consideration for windows at the Senior Citizen Center. A couple Thursdays ago, Brian Manwaring showed me a picture of a couple of the windows over at the Senior Citizen Center. And there was holes in the top and then in the bottom, and I guess some birds had been flying through.
Yeah, I was pulling the telephone cable over there, and I could hear birds. It sounded like in the attic, and then whenever I got outside and looked, I noticed where the windows have been boarded up, there's some rotten wood there, and I think that's where they were probably getting in.
Yeah. So I called Darren and asked Darren to, if he would go over and board up the tops of the windows, and he did that. In the meantime, I have talked with Sandy Bullard, and Sandy had told me that last month, their electricity bill was slightly under $1,000. And last winter, there was so much air that had went through there that it actually froze up one of their water lines. So I wanted to bring in front of the council tonight the consideration for windows. And I'm not looking to replace all 5 windows. I'm not even looking to, but I'm just what I'm looking for is trying to find some way to secure that building to where they don't end up having additional problems on down the line. And I would like just for the council to talk about it real briefly. Gary, I know that you're over there quite a bit, so you're familiar with it.
Yeah, I remember, I don't know if it was a year or two ago, and Darren built a new wood thing and put in there. Consider behind it. That's why that pipe froze up in the ceiling. Well, that board come off, that cold air was going straight in that pipe and across the ceiling. Of course, the guys come up and re-insulated, and they took a couple of panels and it unfolded itself. But yeah, I don't know if you want to put glass, want to put glass back in it, or you just want to.
No, I'm just wanting to converse about what would be the best opportunity and the option for us.
Back in like it's in there and insulate behind it, so that goes through. Of course, the heat runs a lot, or the air conditioner runs a lot, but you got an old building.
Yeah, but $1,000 a month for electricity seemed outrageous to me, so.
Yeah, because they won't cook in the kitchen anymore.
Yeah.
It's shut down.
So,
Gary, when you say about boarding the windows up,
No, there's no,
okay.
But there's 5
it's
windows.
just, they built wood and farmed the wood where the windows used to be. And they've been there so long, the weather blows right on them, but it's just deteriorating. If you can go back up there like down them guys did, they just built a new window and set in there and refastened it up. What happened, Darren went there the other day and put boards across the top. Just new boards taken out and rebuilt. I wouldn't wanna, I don't think putting glass back in there will be much of a chance. With people walking through the parking lot, they already cut the tires on the van. I don't know why they wouldn't throw a rock through the window there.
What, and these are all, I haven't been over there to look at it, so are these at ground level or all second floor?
Ground level.
They're at ground level, okay.
Yeah, they're on the north side of the building. And I can't remember if it's 4, 5, 6,
There's five.
down through there.
Right. And what I was thinking, Mayor and Gary and council, was if we wanted to do a window, I was hoping that maybe we could do a couple this year and then maybe do the rest in another year. But windows are not necessarily what we have to have, but I'm looking to try to save them a little bit of extra money by doing something to that building to where they don't end up having to pay $1,000 a month in electricity.
And is everything around the windows brick?
Yes.
I mean, I see a lot of times where you can tell there was an old window and it's just been bricked.
Yeah.
I don't know if long-term, if it would make sense just to brick it in and then we're not
Well,
replacing
and
it.
they paneled over that part of it on the inside, I think. They got panels on the wall.
No.
Not at all.
Anybody's welcome to come up there and look.
Yeah,
If
sure.
they can't get in there after key to the front door, look it over. In there, I know Sandy does not get around real well, and I do serve council there, which we're trying to get Mike up there on the council too.
Keep trying.
That council, their council has to have a representative from this council on it to stay and be graced with the state, is my understanding. But yeah, I mean, still have to go up and look at it. I never get out of the car on that north side and you
Okay.
see the new boards that Darren put.
With our contract with them, I can't remember how much we put into things every year, isn't there, or is that, am I getting it confused with the rec center maybe? Do we have a contract with them that says we will put so much in every year?
We're just responsible for the building maintenance.
We are responsible for the building maintenance, well, that would be considered such. Okay, that's what I couldn't remember how it was. I knew that we had an actual contract of a dollar amount with the rec center, and I didn't remember if we had one with senior center or not.
We only have 5,000.
Would we benefit from getting a contractor's recommendation on
What to do?
what to do?
I'm sure that we would.
I mean, if we can just break it up, that can't be too much, I wouldn't think, for 5 windows to,
They're pretty good size.
yeah.
I would think it would be nice to have, like you said, a contractor or some professional person look at it and at least get a recommendation of what would be the best way to help them with their heat and air conditioning systems and such.
Well, almost whoever is going to give you an idea what's going to have to take one of them windows out, or one of the boards, see what they got to work with.
I was also in,
I go there off and on for varying things, but I don't know that I've ever really paid any attention to those windows and how they're boarded up.
I haven't either, but it's also in a high
People there-
traffic area. If we can make it look as nice as we could in the process of doing it too,
Yeah, I agree.
I think that's,
Well, I can reach out to Brad Fager or something and, ask him to go take a look at it and then get a recommendation back.
That'd be great if you wouldn't mind doing that,
Okay.
Mayor.
Sandra,
Yeah. I would just like to get something done
sure.
on that, because it's been quite a bit, and then make the building look quite a bit better also. All right, thank you, council. Do we have any public comment? If not, Mayor, we can move out of buildings and grounds.
That takes us to relations. We have no old business, we have no new business. Do we have any public comment on community relations? All right. That takes us to public improvement, chaired by Mr. Don Glad.
Thank you, sir. There is no old business under public improvement or new business. Is there any public comment? Back to you, sir.
Thank you. Takes us to public works, chaired by Mr. Gary McComb. Gary?
Report of zoning board of appeals on video gambling parlors. Well, I got one question on that. They say it's a video gambling parlor if they make 51% of their, say, that's their main income.
Richard?
That's correct. We defined, we put a definition in that we've seen other municipalities use, which is defined.
That's the current definition, right? That's not a proposed change, that is.
That would be a proposed change.
It would be a
We
proposed-
currently do not do anything
That
under
define-
zoning for video gaming parlors or under the liquor code. This would be a new definition for video gaming parlors to add, which would be under the zoning code, which, it would be an establishment with its primary source of revenue, video gaming, with the sale of alcohol being incidental to that primary source.
So-
We put in there, if it's 51% or more revenue from video gaming, then it is a video gaming parlor.
My only question on that is how do you do that for a new business? A new business that has had no prior revenue?
Well, if they're going to come in.
So if it's a new business, technically they could go wherever they want if they didn't meet that definition of a
If they don't meet the definition, then they're, if they open, and it turns out, if they open and they're in a B1 district as opposed to a B2 district, they are operating in a manner that they do meet that definition, then their liquor license would be revoked. To continue doing business.
Everybody's financials that applies for a liquor
That's what
license
we
every
take.
year that does that.
So, right, so we provide for enforcement purposes, either our code enforcement zoning administrator, Charlie Iser, has the ability to request whatever records would be determined appropriate to determine whether it is or not a video gaming parlor. Our local liquor control commissioner, which is our mayor, also has that ability to request
then-
those records, and they both have the ability to enforce that provision. Our zoning administrator under the zoning code and our local liquor control commissioner under the liquor code.
I mean, and then do we go off of gross sales? Do we go off of net income? You know, like there's,
Wouldn't it have been as easy, Richard, to put in there anybody that has these machines?
well, then you can't put
Well,
a bar in.
this would not affect anyone who is operating a bar, as a bar, who, video gaming is not their primary resource of revenue, or a restaurant who would have these machines. So this is meant only to define those businesses that get a liquor license, not really to operate a bar and sell alcohol, but really they're getting a liquor license for the purpose of having video gaming. Because the requirement to have a video gaming license is that there be a liquor license for the premises that allows the sale of alcohol for consumption on the premises. That's required. And of course, our fraternal organizations, veteran organizations, they have their own requirements to get the machines. But for other establishments, they need a liquor license for the sale of alcohol for consumption on the premises. And we know some of these businesses are getting that liquor license not to operate as a bar like most establishments that would get that license are getting. They get that license only for the purpose of having gambling machines.
Kind of like that.
I'm thinking this is rare, the likelihood of this happening, but I think when we do define something like this in an ordinance, if you've got somebody who's doing their books close to the end of the year and they're at, 49% alcohol sales and 51%, I'll just buy a bunch of people booze for the night, I'll spend $10,000 my guarantee that the next year I'm gonna get that $60,000-$70,000 in, gaming revenue instead of, like, I don't know, like, by income is a hard thing to do, or defining it. I know that's probably a very, 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 puts, extra burden on our code office for having to, look at the financials. I mean, I don't know if that's the liquor commissioner that we would decide that would do that, and I understand that thing and the chance of somebody being that close, and it making it different, but it's possible, and I think, I don't know if there's a better way to define it or not,
If that should be a different percentage, I don't know.
Right.
I'm
Just,
you know,
that's what we see on.
Require of different establishments, you went to one of the bar owners, I don't know what that percentage is that they normally bring in, video gaming revenue as compared to alcohol sales or other sales.
The only way we can keep a place from having machines is not giving a liquor license, because the state covers all, if you're gonna get the machines or not. We don't have anything to do with it.
The city has to issue them a liquor license.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does their gaming license get reviewed every year also? So if they were to lose their liquor license, the state would not renew their gaming license?
Immediately.
Barb, did you have
I
something?
know that whenever a liquor license expires, if it's not renewed in Springfield at the
They have to
at the
turn
time,
machines off.
they get
right?
shut off immediately. Yeah. Yes.
This is just a question that popped into my brain. When we look at Roll 'em Up, their primary business is alcohol sale, but they also have gaming in there. But is it correct, they are not termed as a gaming parlor? Because you know that
They
they're,
have gaming?
yeah, they do.
I didn't realize.
Yes, they do. And the thing is, and I assume that they have a liquor license that they can do consumption, but how do you gauge that? The biggest part of their liquor is not going to be, the biggest part of their income is not going to be from the gaming center.
And they would be allowed to have what they're doing.
They would or would not?
They would be.
Okay,
And of course, any gaming parlor that is already existing in the B1 district
okay,
would be considered a non-conforming use, so they get to stay.
okay, that was my next question. I think we talked about this briefly when we brought this on the table before, is the place across from Martell's. Because he already has approval, even though he's within how many feet, whatever the
Right,
footage is,
By
he
the
would
ordinance, that
still,
one would be allowed.
Okay.
Also. What this ordinance does, any new video gaming parlors would
Has
not
to
be
comply with
able to
this.
be located in the B1 district, which is, most of the B1 is our area along Walnut Street.
okay,
They would still be allowed in the B2 district, which the B2 district is from near the bridge crossing the river out to Walmart,
okay,
from the motel area on 127 out to Jackson Square.
okay,
Then there's a small area of B2 just past, on 14th Street, past Illinois Avenue, out to the area where Cinnamon Lane Forest is.
okay. So that would eliminate us really allowing any in-town new gaming centers, gaming parlors.
The ones that are video gaming parlors, that meet that definition, that's correct.
When you say in town, downtown, basically downtown,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
residential area.
Yeah.
Right, and
Well, and we have Rosie's in the old, Eagles Building or whatever that is, Elks Building or whatever. I know that would stay there, but that would not be allowed otherwise, if that were
Not
new,
under the, if it
correct?
were, not under the new one.
Under the new policy.
And I just want to say, to me, the more important part of this ordinance, in my opinion, is the distance from residential.
Right.
Because that's where, I get the negative interactions from the residents, because they're the ones whose property values and quality of life are, impacted negatively by these places opening up. I see this gentleman in the audience with us, he's shaking his head, so I believe you're here.
Board of Appeals. So.
Yeah, and so I don't know if you want to share anything about, your
At our
perspective.
meeting, thank you, sir. At our meeting, we discussed all of that, of course, with Richard also, about 51%, a lot of questions. And the distance that was proposed, we didn't think was enough. So we sent back for consideration the expansion from 100 feet to 250. Some members were wanting more. We kind of met in the middle at 250. We had 200, 300, split the difference. There were some questions within the costs of if someone was to say, well, feet-wise, this is this, no one has a survey done, we might be on the hook to fight it with a survey, which is expensive. So we could do a building-to-building with the 250 feet and cover most of the people that would be in residential near a place that's being proposed. If y'all would like to make that number bigger, the bigger the better in our eyes. We just didn't want to appear too greedy with the amount of distance. And that's to take into consideration exactly what you said.
Thank you, appreciate your remarks.
Richard, do you know what our current restriction is in a distance in a residential area for a new bar? Like, I know the ones we've got are pretty much grandfathered in, but do we have a?
It wouldn't speak just to a bar, it would speak to, I don't know what our zoning
I think
code.
it's
It would speak to a commercial establishment in general.
I think it's 200, because when Martell wanted a liquor license, and the church across the street, it seems to me it was somewhere around 200, or at 200.
I thought it was
But
100.
that's,
I
it's
thought
an
it
old
was
record.
100 from a church.
That was a distance of 100 feet from the church.
The
That was
100 or
Martell's
one?
and 100 feet from
Okay.
the church.
Right.
Okay,
Now, Martell's got a liquor license because there was a change in state law
yes.
that allows the municipality to consider that requirement, waive that requirement for a liquor
Okay.
license. I don't think there is there are setback requirements from lot lines for a business that abuts, where our B1 abuts residential. There are setback requirements for the business, but I don't think there is, other than the standard setbacks for the lot lines. I do not believe we have a certain distance
Okay.
from a business to a residential premises that abut our business districts and residential districts. I
Don?
think it's just standard setbacks for those districts.
I want to thank Richard because what he has here is what we discussed and asked him to do. And I think going through the zoning board and everything, so I move approval.
Well, I mean, my thought is, I think we all know what a gaming parlor is compared to a bar. I'm just not sure this ordinance protects us from that, from somebody that wants to open, says I'm not a gaming parlor, I'm a bar, and then the only people there are the people sitting there playing, on machines,
A place like Tampa's down there, would they be allowed?
They would be unless they would remain basically not functioning for 1 year. Our grandfather rules allow.
I mean, but have we looked at their revenue to know that they don't sell? We don't know that they.
Well, I would be very surprised if they would. I mean, when you look at the reports.
But
that
guessing on whether they are or not isn't how this ordinance is, by this definition. We can't decide, well, I think they are a gaming parlor. We've got a very set definition of what's a gaming parlor, and it's based off of income.
Well, the thing that I always find interesting is when these places come and sit in my office, they always look at me and they always say, Mayor, we ain't gonna be in trouble because we don't even want to sell any alcohol at all. We're just gonna have one 12-pack of beer sitting behind the counter and we're gonna sell cans for 50 cents a piece, okay? So we ain't gonna be making any money off the booze, I promise you. And I mean, that's what they tell me. And frankly, when you go into these places, that is the experience. They hand you a can of beer for $1 or $1.50 or whatever, because they aren't interested in making money off the alcohol, because they're making money off of the machines.
So we're telling them,
I don't think, Will, there's as many people making money off the machines as they was when they, like, a places in town that had them. Now there's some, you can go block.
$1,000 a month for,
I mean, I looked at it pretty recently, and it's a pretty consistent amount of revenue, you know, throughout the, you know,
yeah.
I think it's spread around. The places that have historically done well are still doing pretty well,
Yeah, I
and, you know,
And the amount hasn't fluctuated big except during.
I mean, a
COVID.
little bit, there's been an increase in it. and-
Yeah, but during COVID, you know, we dropped way down, but in the last year.
And this, if this forces people to decide they're going to invest more money in their business and they're going to, you know, build a bigger building and operate and function, you know, as more of a traditional bar or restaurant or whatever, great. Because one of my complaints is these folks come in and cause me a bunch of problems, but they're not paying a property tax bill like the old Rome is. They're not employing a dozen or 18 people, you know, to clean the place. They always say, I'm going to have one employee in there, maybe two. And they're not sponsoring the local teams or this, that, or the other, like some of these larger operations are. So I just feel like, you know, whether this definition is perfect or not, I'm not sure. But I think that even more than, you know, that definition, the residential of it, you know, is important too. So anyway, we have a motion. I don't know if, John?
So, I think, concern, I'm not trying to speak for, I want to open a new business and I say, I'm going to open a bar, but I really open a video gaming, but I'm going to get my license revoked after a year if I don't conform, right?
I think that's what Richard is
Yeah.
saying.
But for a year, issue is if we're gonna define it by income, any new business that wants to open up, we for a year. I concede the fact that I think of the gaming machines a lot differently than the council. I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
I know. But thinking of
Way closer to
the
yeah.
council, this is a problem that, at the way this is written, any new place that wants to open up, we would still have to deal with for that first year until we go through their income and say, this is how much you made off of gaming, and this is how much you made, unless they own another gaming, you know, and I don't know if that's something that you could do, but if it's a new business, it does not protect us from them opening up. And that, I think that was a portion of our concern when we originally talked about this, was that we wanted to keep these places from continuing about 10.
Right.
Well,
But the zoning does that.
and we don't want to
If it's
forget,
a
we wanted to protect the residents, which this ordinance does.
If it's a gaming parlor.
Yeah.
But we don't know it's a gaming
Well,
parlor until they've got an income.
Well, no, but that's true of any business that opens anywhere.
Well, I think one thing that would naturally happen in the process in applying for their liquor license is that liquor license is going to arrive. I'm going to ask the question, who is this and what are they wanting to do? Because at that moment, I'm going to say to the, you know, whoever is applying, do you realize that if you're lounge, that, you know, within 1 year, I am going to revoke because of this ordinance.
Right.
And I think that that would create, you know, a sort of a blockade in the process when just reviewing, you know, these sorts of plans.
When you can tell if it's square feet,
Right. I mean, I agree that the common sense, you know, estimate of what that business is, you know, I feel like that would be fairly accurate most of the time. But all it would take was somebody saying, that's not what I'm gonna do. And, I mean, we couldn't legitimately tell them, no, we're not gonna offer you that liquor license under this ordinance because you meet the definition of a gaming parlor, you're not allowed to be there in that zone. And like I said, I concede to the fact that we're gonna get an ordinance done that puts into zone game, keeps these gaming parlors from opening up. I don't wanna jump to in a way that doesn't protect us from what we're trying to, what the council is trying to
I understand. I just don't know, I don't know how to define it better unless you
Like I
just
said-
want to drop the percentage.
That's probably a fairly standard definition against municipalities, but like,
Well, first of all, you get rid of some of them if they don't live in Jackson County.
Yeah, right. That's another part of our ordinance that needs to be revised. Or
We have a,
we do.
do we have a second?
Second.
I think that we've asked the zoning committee to do something specifically, and they've done that and brought it back to us, so I think we have to vote, at least vote on it. Yeah, so I'll second that.
All in favor? Ayes have it. One nay.
Two, no.
Two. The bar was in also. That's what I thought.
Ordinance too, right?
Ordinance amending zoning code.
So approved.
Now, speaking out of turn, was that for the 100 feet or the 250 we recommended?
250 is, 250 is what's in.
Do we have a motion on the ordinance amending the zoning code?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nays?
no.
No.
Ayes have it, 2 nays.
That includes the 250s.
Is there any? None, we can move on.
That takes us to Public Safety Chair by Mr. John Irvis. John?
Thank you, Mayor. We have no old business, under new business. Consideration of amended intergovernmental agreement for fire protection with Kincaid Reed's Creek Conservancies. Chief, you want to speak to
Yeah,
that?
I was contacted a month or so ago by Scott Woman from Kincaid Reach Creek. Since 2014, we have had an intergovernmental agreement with Kincaid Reach Creek to provide fire protection for the water treatment plant out on Water Plant Road. They have, in the recent past, taken back control of the marina, boat docks, and the campgrounds, and running it themselves. And they have requested that we extend our intergovernmental agreement to cover their fixed facilities out there, that being the marina, the boat docks, and the campground area. So I spoke with Mr. Irvis and with the mayor, and was told to go ahead and have something drafted. Richard is playing both sides of the fence, but I assume this attorney will be on them since they're requesting, but, so he got this put together. We all worked on it to get in there that we, was pertinent on both sides, and this is what we came up with. I don't anticipate that there would be very many calls out there, and of any calls of any substantiality, we're going to be there anyway as a mutual aid request. We always are. Their current fire department is the Ava Fire Department, who has about a 30-minute response to the marina at any given time. And usually we end up out there assisting anyway. The only thing we've had out there in recent memory since I've been here has actually been out on the water with a couple of drownings because we have a boat. But this is related to the fixed facilities. We do have other intergovernmental agreements, one being with the airport. We respond to the airport quite a bit for various things that go on out there. But I don't anticipate that this would be any of any major financial consequence to us. And we did have some fail-safe measures built in. If we're busy doing something else here in town on a fire, we notify other people, and, you know, they can't, they'll hold us harmless for, you know, us not being able to come out. So I'm good with the agreement. I don't think it'll be a problem.
I only have one question, and the same question I asked you before, Chief, and that's the 4th of July. When you have, these display type of folks on site, I've often noticed, like at Riverside Park, the fire department's just already there, or they have some sort of fire suppression of their own in case something. That's the only scenario where I ever question whether or not this would be a good idea, because they have a large celebration out there, something catches on fire. And then, of course, we know what Murphysboro 4th of July looks like. I mean, it looks like the Battle of Gettysburg every year, because Murphysboro loves fireworks. So, on that specific day, and can we?
Yeah, we can cover, and I don't know where they shoot theirs off. I don't think that's, I think that is an individual that lives up in the subdivision just before you get there. And I don't know that he's doing that anymore. I actually spoke with him a couple of years ago, and he said, yeah, I do those fireworks.
Right.
And that would not be part of this that we would cover.
Okay.
But we have agreements also with MPS and Carbondale that if all of a sudden we've got a couple of things going on, we have fail-safe measures that we are covered also.
Okay.
I make a motion to approve the agreement.
Second.
Any questions? All opposed? No? Chief? Next, we have consideration request for handicap sign at 2125 14th Residence.
John, I thought we wasn't, one time before we voted to put no handicap signs on the regular streets.
I don't know who put this on, it wasn't me, so.
I didn't.
And one thing about it, you can't reserve a handicap sign.
No.
They can't do nothing. But I thought we voted one time not to put any handicap signs in residential area for a house for somebody to park.
So how did this get on the agenda?
I was gonna say,
I would have to ask Donna that. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, well, I don't know that, I mean, I'm certainly sympathetic to people with disabilities, but at the same time, I don't think that this is something that we really need to get into the business of doing, because it, just creates situations where people obviously don't have to notify the city when they sell their home or move or whatever, and, I
it would
don't.
be nice whoever requested it was here.
Right.
So,
I know the city council in the past has denied these type of requests. I guess two reasons. One, Gary pointed out already. One is that there are requirements as far as ADA accessibility space. The other is you cannot have a handicap space that attaches to a certain premises if there's a handicap premise. Parking space, anybody who has a handicap placard can park in that space. Nobody can have any personal reserved spaces for anybody on the city street.
Well, it says handicap sign, it doesn't say a parking space, so that was what confused me too, and I meant to drive by there and
yeah, I just wondered if it was, it didn't say anything about parking. I wondered if, how we have these signs some of the time that says children at play or deaf child near this premise or something like that. I wondered if they were just asking for some kind of signage that said there was a handicapped person there. But we also don't.
Like we just need to table this and
Yeah.
try to divine some more information out about where it came in from and whatnot.
Sounds good. All right, we'll do that. Any public comment? Public safety. Move on, Mayor.
Chaired by Ms. Barbie Hughes. Barb?
Thank you, Mayor. There's no old business under new business. Actually, I think this can be considered old business, but that's okay. Consideration of summer help for the water maintenance department. I would like to open this up for conversation.
Well, Barb, you and I were talking, you mentioned to me a couple churches, perhaps Gina, you had.
Actually, my church, I spoke with the youth director there, and she's very interested in trying to get a group together to help. Also, Gina had spoken to someone with their service and mission group. And then Mike brought up at his elders meeting the fact that we may be looking for volunteers. These all need follow-up, but at least they have been contacted to, if nothing else, think about this and perhaps come up with some help for us that didn't actually cost us anything, and yet give some perhaps young people or even adult people a chance to help the community out. I would be glad to, I know that there's probably other conversation around this. I know that Mike has some views on it that he wanted to give to us, and I would hear all those. Yes.
Want me to start?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, well, as a younger person, I always thought that summer work was very valuable for me, and it led to where I'm at today with my community work. And I think anytime we have the opportunity to hire summer kids or adults for summer work, it only puts a lot of pride in the community and actually kind of structures the young man along the way too.
Be a woman.
Or a woman. But I really hope that we can hire some summer help, because I really think that it's beneficial. It gives them the opportunity to work in the community that they live, take pride in the community that they serve, and who knows where it will lead them, because I know where it led me. And without it, I really think that it's made a huge difference in my life, being able to work.
Tim, are you gonna be able to supervise any of these kids if we hire them?
Absolutely. I thought about this a lot today, and one young man.
I apologize to you that I never got back with you today.
Oh, that's okay.
I'm so sorry. It was one of those crazy days.
One young man individually, I mean, he just, every time I see him, he's asking for a summer job. He's not related to me. He's a friend of my daughter's, not her boyfriend. Ask your dad, ask your dad, you know. And I saw him Sunday, I saw him at a graduation party. And I mean, he just held it around the whole time. He just really wants this summer job. His dad is a union plumber at SIU. And you know, he just turned 16, he's got a driver's license. Parents don't help him out with any budget, you know, he's got to get a job. Just has a lot of just really looking to work. I know that perhaps 4 was too much to ask, but I mean, not even 40 hours a week. This kid couldn't work 40 hours a week. You've got other irons in the fire.
Well, we couldn't do it because we don't want to pay benefits.
Right.
Right. But I mean, I could use him around the shop for sure. I mean, I got guys going on vacations. He could ride with somebody else. He could go out and change meters. He could go with the meter reader. Maybe this is one maybe 20 hours a week work.
Do you think that he would be able to do some of the painting?
Oh, sure. Yeah. You probably wouldn't want to put him in he's only 16, you might not want to put him in something, but just around the shop, there's plenty to do. I mean, I like to pressure wash the building this summer. It's kind of hard to do that, and you get all of our work done, and also cover all the vacation time that we have. You know, 2 would be great, but 1 would be great for us.
Under 18, they can't drive our trucks anywhere, I mean.
I think the majority of the work would be done around the shop, where he wouldn't have, he'd just drive into work and spend the day there on projects.
Also, if they're under 18, you don't have to pay them minimum wage. Is it $12?
Maybe less than 14.
I think it's $12 an hour, and I don't know if he would work for that.
I think this kid would work for $5. He just wants to work.
Ask him if he'd work.
Well, I also think that two things can be true at the same time. We could hire one summer worker, I suppose, and we could still engage our community groups to,
Yes, that is true.
paint
Absolutely. I've worked
fire hydrants.
with organizations and churches before with hydrant painting. Steve's helped me with that. We provide the paint, the brushes, they come out. We can wrap them brushes and plastic and they, the next day. Actually, I've had them stay
Long time.
long time, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
I've done that at home.
They utilize that, but yeah, absolutely. Get as many people as you can get a brush in hand, and do a decent job of painting.
Right.
So if we were to do, and I'll just go $15 an hour at 20 hours a week, that's $300 a week, and for how many weeks? 8, you
Probably
said?
8.
I would say 6.
6?
Oh, I thought we'd
Yeah,
probably.
so that's
eight.
$1,800.
I figure they're gonna have a.
Sandra has a
this kid's
look
gonna
on her
have a big
face.
Vacation with his family, so that's gonna bring us 7.
We don't have to pay him $15 an hour, though.
I'm just using that as an example.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be.
Was that way the look was there, Sandra? Okay.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking that would be 1,800.
Yeah, I do agree.
Tim, can you consider him part-time hire help and working 40 hours a week, or you have to working 32?
He couldn't work 40 hours.
Yeah.
He's got sports, he's training, he's got.
Well, besides the fact we don't want to do that, we'd have to pay benefits.
That's what I'm saying, if
Oh,
it's part-time help, you got,
Yeah,
and what,
but he can figure that out just by his need. Tim can.
Yeah, just have
I mean,
to-
that's his job.
It won't need 40 hours.
Right. I think we'd have to stay under 32.
I will give you contact information also
30.
on, I'll reach out again to these 3 churches that I have talked to. Give you that contact information sometime this week. I'll run by and give you that if you're going to be in the office. And maybe, even
You're
a call
talking
from
about
you
one
would
kid.
help.
Yeah.
Because if we
So
can
if
get
I
some
just make a
volunteers,
motion
that would
here.
also lessen your
Okay.
job.
I'll make a motion that we hire
Second.
How long? Give us a time.
How
many weeks?
Give us a time. How many weeks you wanting?
We could, the month of June and 2 weeks in July.
6 weeks.
At minimum wage.
Yeah, is that gonna do okay with payroll, with that? Okay.
And I'll put in that motion too that Tim picks a kid and supervises.
What about pay? What are we paying?
Minimum wage.
You're gonna pay minimum wage or minimum wage for under 18?
I don't know why we wouldn't pay minimum wage.
You ain't talking about $1 or $2 less an hour for 6 weeks.
We keep saying, and I don't mean this mean, I'm fully agreeable with hiring this, but, you think about last meeting, we spent voted to spend $105,000 that wasn't budgeted. And then we also
We also wanted to
Hiring
give
people.
ourselves a $500 or $250 a month raise at the end of the year last year too, so.
not me, man.
I'm just saying.
But, and also, this is not budgeted. I can't encourage all of you enough that are super, try to think ahead about these things and get these in your budget. We at least can know what to expect. I mean, we were in great big debt when I first came on here, and that was some 15 years ago, and we dug our. And I just don't want to see y'all get back in that situation by buying things that aren't, and doing things that aren't budgeted. And that's my speech, that's all. I'm sorry, I've been on here long enough, you gotta listen to me.
No problem here. Go broke.
Exactly, and I'm sure Scott would agree with me.
Very well.
Yes.
Call the question.
Have we voted?
No, we have motion and a second.
I'll second it.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Is there any public comment on personnel?
Oh, I forgot to ask that, I
That's
apologize.
okay.
Thank
We're
you.
leaning on you all.
Okay with that? That's all right. Get out of it now. Thank you for finishing that for me.
Sure. All right, the mayor's report shows nothing, but I will quickly update a couple of things. I want to say that the ceremony for the marker was very good on Saturday. We had about 150 people there for the unveiling. We probably had about 400 people there downtown. And so that was all a lot of positive, good feelings about that. I also thought I would update you that I had a Southwest Connector Highway Coalition meeting earlier today at the Randolph County Courthouse. It was an hour and a half long meeting, but the real gist of it was that we did get $6 million for some engineering, and IDOT presented everything that's going to include, and it's a really positive step forward because it's going to, put some real lines on paper, and it's going to, over the next 2 or 3 years, there's going to be a ton of community engagement across all of these communities along the these highway route. It's going to do all the environmental planning, so it's certainly a positive push forward. The state of Illinois amended some language in the state budget. There was $15 million that was in there that specifically was for engineering, but I was able to work with the Speaker's office, and they changed that to just say $15 million for any costs associated with the Southwest Connector Highway. So now we have money for, $5 million a mile, or concrete, but we can.
That is crazy.
Isn't it crazy? You can.
You're in the wrong business.
I know. I should have been in the car. Please. So, but it is going to hire some people, and I think you're going to see some activity in the next couple of years. Starting north of jobs, and that'll be people that'll be eating in our restaurants and staying at our hotels, etc. So that's I think a positive development also.
It's a healthy investment from them.
Yeah. The other unfortunate, although I haven't heard back from Brandon Phelps, I did search the state. It hasn't been amended, but I do not see any funding in the state budget for our building. Now, maybe I'm missing there somewhere, and not seeing that language. Get a full update, and I'll provide an email to everybody in case there's something I'm not understanding. That request was promised several times that I'd have a meeting with. That meeting never came, and so I was disappointed in that, but I don't think that it was a totally wasted effort. So anyway, that is the updates that I have. And with that, I'll go to council member requests. I'll go to Ms. Okay, Mr. Runge?
Nothing, thank you.
Mr. Austin?
Nothing, sir, thank you.
Ms. Jackson?
Nothing, thank you.
Clerk Honzak?
Nothing. Thank you.
Mr. Pittman?
Nothing, thank you.
Mr. Urbis?
Well, just to bootstrap on what Will said, I went to the meeting too, and there's definitely, IDOT is now involved, they're into it now, where they have not been, so that's just huge. Even District 8, or Metro area, they were there today, and they're following the line too, so kudos to the mayor to get that language changed to where it actually be construction. So, maybe happen. I'd say for the board, the first time.
It's the first time in 25 years that there's been any actual money appropriated to the project, or that IDOT has been forced to actually take up the mantle and try to lead it in any way.
Yeah.
So, that's a good thing.
And our district is definitely behind it.
Yeah, it crosses District 8 and 9, which is all in. District 8 does not particularly love the project. So there's kind of been a IDOT, tension. Just don't pay attention to that, we just keep pushing forward.
Well, it was definitely beneficial having somebody from District 8 there.
Yes.
Also. And I talked with him, and he seems like he's following in line with what District 9 is pursuing, so congratulations, Will.
Yep. Thank you.
Stevens Interstate.
Yes, that's right. My goodness.
Right there with King Gray.
Yeah.
You know, if you haven't been up there lately either, you know, we're on the third floor of the courthouse, and boy, the new Chester Bridge is really starting to take shape.
Yeah.
Yeah, I drove down there over the weekend and it's coming along.
Mr. McComb?
Yeah, I just, some people out the cemetery on the hill was having a problem with somebody staying in the woods and roaming around out there, and answered the call very quick. The policeman walked down in the woods and finally arrested this guy, and the neighbors out there said to give the police department and the chief a big shout for answering that call, and the guys going out in the weeds till they found this guy. So, good job, chief.
Who's wandering around in the woods and in the cemetery?
He was living out there.
He was living in the woods?
Headless horse.
Lord, I know we're a persistent poverty community, but
That's right.
Mr. Strack?
Nothing, thank you, Mayor.
Yeah, how are you gonna follow that? Brian?
So's he.
Too nice. All right. Mr. Blake?
A lot of strange people.
Ms. Ripley?
Down 149.
Mr. Evans? Chief McBride?
I'm good, thanks.
Okay, Chief Ellemeyer?
Nothing, thanks, Gary, I'll pass that along.
Mr. Manwaring?
Nothing, thank you.
Mr. Sheffer?
Nothing, Gary.
Ms. Volley?
Nothing, thank you.
Mr. Lee? All right. We are